Hey guys, welcome back. Today we are talking about the season 2 premiere of The Valley. We are so back. I love The Valley. I love it. I feel like it's the best show on Bravo besides like The Real Housewives of Miami. I honestly feel that way. I feel like it's so fun. It's probably because I'm from the Valley also that I like really like watching it, because a lot of the places that these people go to I recognize, and then also a lot of the like drama just feels so familiar to me because I'm from here, and it's like, yeah, I've like met a ton of people with like toxic marriages and like dealing with the stuff that they're dealing with. So maybe that's why I just really love it, because I know the show also has some haters, but like I'm just so happy. I've been looking forward to this for so long. Let's honestly just jump right into the recap. These previews showing what happened between Brittany and Jax are like insane. They show these previews of like them arguing and like screaming at each other, and it's like really really intense, and you're thinking like, oh my god, wow, like this whole season is gonna be so insane, like watching this play out over like 12, 13, 14 episodes. And then the previews end and it goes 7 days earlier, and you're like, oh wow, like this is happening like very very soon. Like it really, it's just like really really crazy. We kind of check in with everybody. So we start at Jesse's house. He says Michelle has moved out and they're waiting for their divorce to be finalized. They hate each other so much. Just from watching this episode, and like, I mean, you could tell. Like last season she hated him. You could really tell, but I do think he still loved her. Now there is no love between these two. They hate each other. He has Isabella at his house right now. In the confessional, he says co-parenting is not going well. They're arguing all the time. And Isabella is so cute. She's 4 years old. I mean, it like makes me sad. Like it makes me sad to hear that like this 4-year-old girl has two divorced parents who are constantly fighting, and it's like not a good relationship between them. That like makes me really sad. Jesse lets her put eyeshadow on at the kitchen table, which is like, like I guess I'm trying to remember, like I definitely had fake makeup when I was a kid, but 4 feels like really young for eyeshadow. Like I think I probably started playing around with like fun eyeshadow, not for like putting on makeup to leave the house, but literally just at home like playing around, maybe when I was like 10, like maybe when I was in like the 5th grade. 4 feels like very young for her to have her own eyeshadow palette, even if it's just for fun. And then Michelle makes a little comment about it too. Like when she picks up Isabel and Isabel's in the back seat, she's like, oh my god, wait, are you wearing eyeshadow? Like, oh, why did daddy let you have eyeshadow? Like she clocked it. She clocked it. Then we see Janet and Jason. Their baby is so cute. They have the cutest little baby wearing the tiny little helmet. He looks so, so adorable. Jason is the only guy on this show that's hot. I've always thought he was really hot, even though he like has a completely boring personality. But I feel like that makes him hotter. It's like all of these other guys are crazy and he seems like a normie, which is good. They're talking about parenting, and Janet is talking about how like when you're a parent, you get used to really gross stuff. And she tells this story that literally makes me gag about how she used the little snot sucker to get snot out of her baby's nose, and the filter like came off and it accidentally went into her mouth. I literally have to stop talking about it. I'm gagging. But like, that was disgusting. That was horrible. I hated that. But good for her. Happy for her. And then I guess filming was before Dodie got pregnant. I totally forgot the timeline of this, of when Kristen Doty got pregnant, because they show her and she's not pregnant, and they're only just like talking about how to maximize her chances of getting pregnant. So maybe she only got pregnant after filming was over, or maybe she got pregnant during filming, but she's not pregnant at this time. It's so funny. Luke is talking about them like needing to get healthy to maximize her chances of getting pregnant. And then in the confessional, she's like, oh, people back in my parents' day were partying and smoking and drinking, and like, look how I turned out. Funny. I chuckled. Okay, and then we see Brittany. And this is like, I don't read like tabloids. So all of this stuff that happened between her and Jax, I had no idea. But she's with Michelle, and she says that Cruz, their son, her and Jax's son, was on her iPad. And there were these text messages coming in because the iPad is connected to Brittany's phone. And there were these text messages coming in from the guy that she is seeing. And Jax saw the like sexy text messages and a hot video that she sent him, and I guess it was like one of Jax's close friends, and he got so mad that he starts like screaming at her, and like he flips the coffee table over and it hits her leg. I was not clear if like Cruz was in the room for this. I don't know if like they took it to another room. What a horrible, scary situation. I hope Cruz didn't see that. That is so scary. Really horrible. Really, really horrible.
He flipped the coffee table and it like hit my knee. It turned black immediately. I'm like, oh my God, oh my God. I'm like screaming, crying.
No.
It was terrifying. You're cheating on me. You're cheating on me. You're still talking to him.
By the way, you guys both had an agreement that you could do whatever you want.
So then at the same time, Jesse is with Jax and he tells him, he's like, you have no emotional regulation. And Jax is like, well, we agreed that we could hook up with other people, but I didn't think that she would hook up with a friend. And it's really good to me how like in this entire episode, everybody who Jax talks to about this, nobody makes excuses for him. Nobody tells him it's okay. Nobody tells him he was in the right. Nobody even says like, oh, well, there are like bad things that happened on both sides. Everybody is telling Jax like, no, what you did was crazy and wrong and that should never happen. And that makes me happy that people are saying that to him. And then Jax says that he doesn't want Cruz to see how he's treating his mother because that is how he will grow up to treat women, which is like, yes, it's like, thank God you're at least self-aware of that, but clearly you don't care enough to like actually control yourself in the moment. And I mean, he says he's remorseful for that episode, but like, then every time he brings it up, like later on in the episode, he tries to justify it. He's like, oh, well, she hooked up with my friend. Or like, yeah, I mean, wouldn't you also be angry if like somebody did something like this? Or like, well, yeah, she's also like been mean to me too. So it's like, I don't know. I don't know how sorry he really is. Then Brittany says she doesn't want Cruz to be around Jax by himself. And Michelle says that she has to be very, very careful because it only takes 1 second for something to happen. And once something happens, there's no going back. When she said this to me, what she meant by something to happen was like, it takes only 1 second for Jax to either physically assault you or even worse, Cruz, maybe by accident. Like maybe like, what if that coffee table hit him? You know what I mean? Like that's what I interpreted her words to mean. And I think she's 100% correct. So we're putting that on pause for now. Jesse in the confessional says that he was a huge whore after the divorce and now he's in a great relationship with a woman who holds a mirror up to him as opposed to Michelle who just let him do whatever he wanted and then complained about what he did. That is such a like asshole ex-husband thing to do. Like you're essentially saying like, oh, I like my girlfriend because she calls me out for all of the mean things I do to her instead of my stupid ex-wife who just let me do mean things and didn't say anything about it. It's like, okay, how about you just try to be a good person? Then nobody has to call you out for doing mean things. Have you ever thought of that? It's like he's literally blaming Michelle for him being a bad person when they were married. Then we see Michelle's new boyfriend Aaron, and she basically is just like, yeah, he's nice and he doesn't talk down to me. He's like not cute. They like show pictures of him. He's like not cute. I feel like he would be a little cuter if his hairline was a little more filled in, but he's not very cute. He's not very cute, but God bless her spirit, she's happy, and that means I am happy for her. Brittany and Janet are at this store that I've actually passed quite a few times, and I never knew what went on in there, but they're at this like plant shop and they're building like little terrariums. It looks really fun. I was looking at that and I was like, wait, I want to go there with Muhammad. That looks like really, really cute. But they're building these little terrariums and Janet asks Brittany if Jax realizes he needs help. And Brittany's like, well, sometimes he says yes. And then sometimes he says, no, I'm Jax Taylor. I can do whatever I want. I forgot what Jax's diagnoses were. I remember he like did an interview where he was like, yeah, I was diagnosed with this, this, and this. It's like giving bipolar a little bit. Like there are times when you're like, yeah, please, I really need help. And then there are times when you're so manic that you're like, I'm Jax Taylor, I can do whatever I want. It's It's a little, that's scary. That's scary. It is so scary to be in a relationship with a volatile person like that. I really feel for her. And then I also really feel for Cruz because it's really scary to have a volatile parent like that. It's, ew, I hate him. I really hate him. And then she tells Janet that she's hosting a white party and Jax was upset that he wasn't invited, so he's hosting a rival party. Jax, I don't know what happened to him in the 6 years between Vanderpump Rules and The Valley, but he is 10 times a lamer and worse person than he was when he was on Vanderpump Rules. He's just so lame. It's embarrassing. He's not the kind of villain you love to hate. He is a villain. He is a deeply, deeply bad and troubled person. And I don't want to see him on my TV anymore. If he's going to continue to do this stuff, how can you reward him with a reality TV check? You know what I mean? It's at a certain point, you have to stop enabling this behavior. You have to stop rewarding it with a check and fame. Nia and Zach go to Casita. That's Anderson .Paak's restaurant, if you didn't know. Anderson .Paak has 2 restaurants in the Valley. One is called Casita. One is a Japanese restaurant. I forgot the name of it. I've been to both, and they are both delicious. They're both insanely expensive. I've only been to both once, and they were on dates where the guy paid, but they were really, really good. And so they're also talking about the situation between Jax and Brittany. And Nia says that she was at Brittany's house 3 days before, and it was very, very scary. I imagine maybe 3 days before was when the coffee table thing happened. They don't give a strong timeline, but I imagine that's what she's talking about. Then Dodie shows up and she agrees. She's like, I've known Jax for all these years. He's done some really messed up stuff, but I have never ever seen anything like what he did to Brittany. Then the conversation shifts to Janet, and Zach is still pissed at her because of the way that she treated him last year. Apparently Janet went on a podcast called Gabbing with Gib, and she said that Dodie and Zach didn't want her pregnancy to go to full term, which at first I'm hearing this and I'm like, oh my God, that is so vile. But then at the end of the episode, when she's talking to Dodie, Kristen and Janet both agree that Zach actually did say that. Zach actually did say that he might want her, that he wanted her to miscarry. And Dodie's just upset because she's like, I didn't say that. Zach said that. Crazy. Because at first when I heard this, when I'm watching it in real time, I'm like, oh my God, that's so vile. You went on a podcast and you accused Dodie and Zach of wanting you to miscarry. That is so evil. But then at the end of the episode, Dodie is like, oh, well, Zach's actions don't reflect on me. So Zach actually did say that then? Ew, what an ugly thing to say. If that's true, what an ugly, horrid thing to say. That's really bad. Zach doesn't understand why Brittany sucks up to Janet so much.
Brittany and I are each other's person here. We've been through so much, and I don't understand how you would let this plain McBoring pants come in between us. I don't know. Maybe they're secret lesbian lovers and I never knew it, because I don't understand what other reason there would be to be that far up her punani.
It's so funny because this is so reminiscent of Kyle and Sutton from this season of Beverly Hills. Literally word for word, I'm pretty sure Garcelle is like, oh, I think Sutton is a little scared of Kyle. And literally Zach says oh, I think he's a little scared of Janet. That's crazy, the parallels. That is so funny. So then Jesse is talking to Dodie. He invites Dodie over to his house, and he says he's either gonna have a party at his house or he did have a party at his house. And he invited Michelle and her boyfriend. And Dodie, as you know, had started a rumor last year that Michelle had a boyfriend before she and Jesse separated. And Jesse's like, if I find out that this guy is that boyfriend, I'm gonna be pissed. He essentially believes Dodie now. Because that's why he invited her over, is to apologize. He's like, you were right about most of the things that you said about our marriage last year, and I apologize for being vicious. And they essentially make up. Dodie's like, that means so much to me. Thank you for saying that. So it seems like Jesse is sort of trying to recruit Dodie onto Team Jesse, which we'll see if that works, but clearly setting something up there between Jesse and the boyfriend. Nia and Danny cursed marriage. There's just something, they like scare me. Their life kind of scares me. They're struggling in their house because it's too small for 3 kids under 3, which I mean, is it even possible to have enough room for 3 kids under 3? That sounds so hard. And he's trying to convince Nia to move to Santa Clarita. Especially since she wants another kid, which is like so crazy. I'm like, you want a 4th kid? You want to have 4 under 4? That's crazy. That is so insane. And I'm literally listening to her talk about this. And I'm like, why in the world would you want 4 kids so close in age like that? But then she says something that makes me kind of sad. And she's like, having kids has ruined my body. Those are her words, not mine. She says, has ruined my body. And it's made me feel like my body isn't mine. And I don't want to wait 5 years until the kids are older so I can then have another kid. And then I can feel like my body is mine again. I do understand what she means. So at first when she said that, I was like, you know, that's so sad. Like, she's so beautiful. It's so sad, like the societal expectations on women that like after 3 or 4 kids, you're supposed to still look like a supermodel. So I at first thought she was talking about like wanting to get a mommy makeover ASAP. But then I saw some comments online from other mothers who were like, no, you don't understand. When you have a baby, you literally feel like your body is not yours, like it belongs to somebody else because of the breastfeeding and obviously carrying the baby. And like your kids are climbing all over you. You got to pick them up and they're sleeping on you and stuff like that. So if she means it that way, I totally understand. And I hope that is the way she meant it. Because if she's saying like, I feel so ugly, like ever since having kids, that would just make me really sad. I think she's so beautiful. I think her face card is crazy. She is so gorgeous. I'm not surprised she used to be a pageant queen. They have a pregame for the white party. I think they're at Janet and Jason's house. There's apparently, Danny reveals that there's a boys chat that I imagine is one of the most cursed environments on earth. I would not want to scroll through that chat. Jason says that Jax and Julian, the guy who Brittany was texting, were very close for a year. So he understands being mad at Brittany, but that there is no excuse for what Jax did. Basically, every single cast member in the show gets to take their turn to say, like, that is terrible what Jax did, which is good that they're all doing that. So while everybody's at the white party, Schwartz and Jax are hanging out at Jax's bar to talk. And this is so, Jax in the confessional is saying that it's so stupid that Brittany tries to paint him as the most evil person alive. Like, how could she say that? Really? The most evil person alive? Me? You are an abuser. You are her abuser. If I was married to an abuser, I would also be running around telling people that I'm married to the worst person alive. Like, shut up. It's like, how can you have one scene where you're like, oh, I really regret what I did, like flipping that coffee table and scaring my wife and son and like yelling at her and being aggressive the way I did, but also the worst person alive. Come on. It's like, stop trying to justify your actions. There is no way to justify them. And then Schwartz said that he and Brittany had a heart-to-heart, and she said she doesn't feel comfortable being in the same room as Jax alone. And Schwartz was like, honestly, I did not think that you were capable of that type of behavior. Which is like, if even Schwartz is telling you that the way you're treating a woman is messed up, you've hit bottom. You have hit rock bottom. If Schwartz is even like, yeah, that was like really messed up what you did to that woman, you're done. You need to seek treatment immediately. And then Jax immediately, it's like what I was talking about earlier, he immediately tries to justify his aggression by saying that Brittany flies off the handle with him all the time. Come on. Here's the thing. I believe that they have gotten into some serious screaming matches. I believe it. But it is different when it is a man versus a woman. He is infinitely more of a threat to Brittany just because of who he is, how he exists. He is a big man who goes to the gym and works out. He's a big guy. He could easily hurt her if he wanted to, and he did hurt her with that coffee table. Whether or not it was unintentional, it doesn't matter. He did hurt her. So him saying like, oh, well, Brittany's so mad at me, but she flies off the handle all the time. It is not the same. It's not the same. And then Schwartz tells him to seek counseling. He's like, there is no excuse. You need help, which is like, I like to think Jax would listen to him. He certainly would never listen to Brittany telling him that, because he would never listen to a woman trying to tell him what to do. But hopefully from a longtime friend like Schwartz, he will listen. Then at the white party, Michelle and Jesse argue about parenting Isabel. Michelle just kind of randomly brings up like, yeah, what I don't like about Isabel right now is she's really spoiled. Like, she's always demanding things she doesn't understand, that things cost money. And then Jesse in the confessional is like, I'm allowed to spoil my daughter if I want to, so shut the fuck up. Here's the problem with this situation, is that because they hate each other so much, they will never ever be able to agree on how to parent Isabel, because Jesse is too petty. He's too petty. He does not care enough about being a good parent. He only cares about going against Michelle and pissing Michelle off. So like Michelle saying, you know, Isabel needs to learn that things cost money, things have value. That's a good lesson. That's a lesson that any good parent would want to agree with. And Jesse saying like, well, fuck you, I can do whatever I want, is like, you are so clearly not acting out of the best interest for your daughter. You're just acting to piss Michelle off. So it's like, again, I feel so bad for this little girl. Like it's just so messed up. Janet pulls Kristen aside to chat, and Kristen does not believe that Janet actually wants to be friends with her. She thinks that she's just doing damage control. She calls her out for what she said on the podcast, and then Janet apologizes. So this is my understanding of the situation. Apparently, Zach did say that he wanted her to miscarry. I am so confused. Zach is denying it. But Janet is like, well, Zach did say that he wanted me to miscarry. And then Dodie doesn't deny it. Dodie essentially just says like, well, just because Zach is my best friend, it doesn't mean that I'm lumped in with him and everything he says is something that I endorse. So Dodie's not denying it either. So I think Zach really said it, which in that case is like, that is so dark and messed up. There is no moving forward from that for me. There would be no like, let's make up and be friends. It's like over after that. Then Dodie says, Janet is like, do you have anything to apologize for? And Dodie's like, nope. She says she's not sorry for anything she did last summer, basically referencing telling people that Janet said Michelle is probably a racist because she's a Republican. And she says that she never lied about a thing. Of course, it's Kristen. I don't remember the last time I heard Kristen apologize for anything. The conversation, needless to say, does not end well. Kristen doesn't think she'll ever trust Janet again. Janet is pissed. It seems like she's almost crying. She like storms out. Her husband tries to follow her. Then Michelle tells Jesse that she met up with a woman who can get Isabella into the same schools as like millionaire and billionaires' kids. I'm not rich enough to know what schools in LA she's talking about, but that is what she's saying. And then he's like, well, I don't like that you did that without telling me. And Michelle's like, I'm allowed to do that. Like, there is no court order that says we have to do that stuff together. And then he's like, well, maybe Isabella should look at schools in Orange County because I might move to Newport Beach. And Michelle is like, Isabella has grown up going to school in LA. She's not going to go to school in Orange County just because your girlfriend lives there. And this is what I'm talking about with Jesse not having Isabella's best interest in mind and only doing things to spite Michelle. Because is there anything more stressful for a kid than like being uprooted and like losing connection with their little friends and breaking their routine and not being able to see their family as much? Like, you're telling me that you already have a bad relationship with your co-parent. You and Michelle already have a horrible relationship. And you think it would be in Isabella's best interest to make that relationship worse and harder by moving to a different city. Orange County, if you don't live in Southern California, it's close-ish. It's about an hour and a half away, but it is a different city. It's far with traffic. It's really far. You cannot get there and back in a day easily. And good for Michelle, she's sticking up for herself. It's just so clear that like, it's like, yes, she hates Jesse. Of course she hates Jesse, but like she has Isabella's best interest at heart. And she's like, well, you know what? If you want to move to Orange County, then maybe I should get full custody of Isabella. Good for you, girl. Good for you. Because what do you mean he's going to try to take your child away from you? That's crazy. And then Jesse's essentially like, well, over my dead body. And Michelle is like fully prepared to go to court with him, which is like, good for you, as you should. And he says in the confessional, he admits it in the confessional. He's like, honestly, I just brought that up to make her mad. Not thinking about your daughter at all. Just not thinking about her peace of mind, about how in the future she's gonna grow up and she's gonna have access to this footage. Like, purely just playing around with the idea of uprooting her entire life and moving her to a different city just so you can be closer to your girlfriend. And that's how this episode ends. It is wild. It is so crazy how much stuff they pack into these 40 minutes. The preview for the rest of the season is insane. Everybody has allegations about something. Everyone has allegations about something. It's like Michelle apparently sleeps with men for $1,500, and like somebody is betraying this friend, and like this person might get a divorce, and like it's just like crazy. It's like everybody is gonna have something going on. Jason takes off his wedding ring when he goes out at night. It's like this. It's just like gonna be insane. Everything going on with Jax and Brittany is honestly incredibly depressing. It makes me really sad. It makes me really scared for Brittany. It makes me really scared for Cruz. I hope that this gets resolved rather quickly, because I think watching an entire season of this is going to be very depressing. It's not like there isn't really much entertainment value in that. It's just like sad. It's like a really, really sad circumstance that I hope is resolved soon. Because obviously a situation like that, like a situation with an abuser where there is a little kid involved, that is really, it's really serious and it's really sad. And like Cruz already is struggling with his learning disability, and like this is the last thing he needs. It's really heartbreaking. It's really sad. On that semi-depressing note, if you missed it, I uploaded my recap of Summer House season 9, episode 9 the other day. You can see that on the channel. And then coming up, I'm gonna have my recap of the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills part 3 of the reunion. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you next time.